Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today this is a monthly recap as well as a TBR for next month or this upcoming month of what books I'm going to be reading. So I can't wait to get into it. I've read quite a bit of books for the month of August, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get into that. So first two books I'm talking about are books that I actually already returned to the library. One of them I am for sure purchasing, and that was 8 Years in Power by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I love that book. I told you guys I think it's probably best on Audibles. You can watch my full review on that, but that was probably the most educational book that I definitely read this month, if not this year. Learned quite a bit from that. The next book was An Unkindness of Ghosts, which was my favorite sci-fi read of the year. It follows a young girl who is oppressed and is labeled as any and everything other, and it's such a relatable but beautiful story, and it's in a whole new world. The world building in there is beautifully done. It's everything that you would want if you're a sci-fi lover. Definitely give this a chance. That book was released this year. You can find it at your local library, but I do think it is a book you can easily own, and it would be well worth the purchase and the money spent. For a full review, definitely I already have that posted on my channel if you want to learn more on that book. The next book that I read is American Marriage. This was a part of Oprah's book club. I also did a full book review on this. This is about a young couple who was recently married, and they are faced with a wrongful incarceration, and yeah, I really liked it. I feel like my expectations were not exceeded because there was so much hype with this book, but it was such a pleasant read, and the format is in the format of love letters for a good majority of the book, which I absolutely loved. So yeah, this is definitely a good read or something to be on your radar. The next book I loved was actually probably my favorite book that I read this month, aside from An Unkindness of Ghosts. I would say An Unkindness of Ghosts and The Poet X were my top two reads, and this is by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this, if you're a poetry lover, you're gonna eat this alive. This should be on my channel, a full review very soon, but spoiler alert, I love it. You should read it. The whole thing is pretty much done like in verse, and it's like poems, literally like poems, and it tells a story and you're warped into the story. It's basically like a coming of age story for this young Dominican girl who's growing up in Harlem, and it's so relatable. For me, it was just such a beautiful story, and it's really cool to see characters that you can truly relate to depicted in books, you know. And I'm not Latina or Latino or anything of that nature. I am Haitian American. This is following a Dominican American girl, but there were so many similarities where I could relate to it. And I think also if you're Latina, like, this is beautiful that this was done. You will definitely relate to this, but anyone will. But I'll go more in depth into my personal review, but I highly enjoyed this book. So I guess remaining on poetry, American Sonnets for My Past and Future Assassins by Terrance Hayes. This is another one that I should be reviewing shortly. It is a poetry book. All of the books have the same title, which I think is pretty cool, and it's really well done. I think everything says American Sonnet for My Past and Future Assassin, and it all has the verses. I think this is a really good modern poetry book to have. I think this is gender neutral. All books are technically gender neutral, but I think this is a good book that you could recommend for both women and for men, and I just really appreciated it. It was refreshing. It was probably one of the better poetry books that I've read as of this year. And it's pretty thin. It's not something super thick, and you can pace yourself with poetry books. That's what I love. Like, I would read like maybe like 2 to 3 poems a day, and I was pretty much through it. And yeah, I thought it was really well done. So this next book that I read, this one is called Speak No Evil. It is a novel from the author of Beast of No Nation, which I never read Beast of No Nation, but I did watch the Netflix movie with Idris Elba on it, and that movie was so traumatizing for me. Like, so I was very hesitant on wanting to read this, but when I read the plot of it, I did still want to take a jab at it, and plus the reviews seemed pretty promising. It's basically a story of a young black kid named Neru. I had to look it up, I'm sorry. And he's basically like African American. Well, his parents are Nigerian, and he was born in America, and he is like this model student. He comes from a background of religious parents and stuff, but he's also coping with the fact that he's coming to terms with the fact that he is gay. And it's kind of like a coming to age story in that sense of where he's kind of accepting the fact that he's gay and trying to balance his first love and all this other stuff. And he has this best friend that he confides in. And the story is good. I'm going to actually go into more in depth on a separate review, so if you're interested, stay tuned for this one. Okay, so next, now that we got into all those books, those were the books that I've read. Now we can go into the books that I plan to read for September. So let's start with Behold the Dreamers. So this book is one that has such good reviews, and this one is more so like the American dream like story. This is again a couple. It follows the journey of a couple who is from Africa, who has made their way to America to work for an executive in New York. And this is pre the bank collapse and all of that, and it kind of shows the journey of how that affects their family and their marriage with the collapse of the market and how that trickled down to them. I haven't read this, so I have no idea, but it says it's fast-paced, and it's also like it talks about everything from the Great Recession to immigration, while reminding us what it means to truly believe in the American dream. So I think as a child of immigrants, I think this would be very interesting for me to read. That's why I wanted to read it. Plus, it has such good reviews, so I'm pretty excited about this one. Heads of the Colored People. This is a short story collection. And I am like halfway through actually of reading this, and it is so entertaining and just witty. The first short story is a little bit dark, but after that it gets really, really funny. But it talks on like real issues of colored folks. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but this is a very comical and hilarious short story collection. I normally don't like short stories, but this kept my attention. Some of the stories are actually related, some of them are not, but as of yet, maybe in the end I'll realize, oh, these are all technically related, but from what I gather, some of them are not related at all and some of them are. But yeah, this is a definitely entertaining one, and I'm excited to finish this. So Freshwater, this is a novel again. Now this one is basically they describe it paints a fiercely unique, unforgettable story of identity, mental health, and the world beyond ours. This impressive debut is lyrical and well told. So I think this is going to be such an interesting read. The reviews on this are so amazing. This also came out today. This is another one of those, one has Nigerian roots, and it basically is about a girl who was basically born with one foot in this world and one foot outside of the world. It's not a long novel at all. I forget how many pages, but like 200 pages, a little over 200 pages. So I think this will be an easy read for me, and it kind of has a little bit, from what I gathered, a little bit of magical realism, which I like. So I'm pretty excited to read this and see where this one takes me. I'll definitely let you guys know if I really like it. Next is actually, I'm excited to read this. This is another book that came out this year, another Roxane Gay. This is Not That Bad, Dispatches from Rape Culture, and I wanted to read this because they had it's a collection of essays by multiple people, one of them being Gabrielle Union, and you know I loved her memoir, and I also love Roxane Gay's writing and the fact that Roxane Gay edited it. I just felt like this is very timely, and I really wanted to read about it. And it has all the different people on here, but honestly the writers that attracted me to want to read this was Gabrielle Union and Roxane Gay. So I'm excited to read this collection of essays. Of course, this is nonfiction. And yeah, I'll let you guys know how this one is for sure. So a next one that I wanted to read, and I want to read this because this is one of those readings from Roxane Gay that a lot of people talk about that I actually have not read. And this is Difficult Woman, and it's, you know, just one of those books that people talk about that I kind of wanted to read. So I'm excited. It's a fiction book, and I'm just excited to see where it takes me. And it was her debut novel, so I'm interested to see where this collection of short stories goes. I hear it was very cleverly done and well written, so I'll let you guys know how this one turns out as well. And if you've read it, as always, let me know what your thoughts were on this. So I like the last graphic novel from Black Panther, so I decided I would do Black Panther and the Crew. This one is Ta-Nehisi Coates that did it, and it's called We Are the Streets, and it's pretty cool. So it's Black Panther, Storm, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, and Manifold. So they basically band together in this one. So I haven't started this one. I'll let you guys know how this goes, but I may be someone who really likes graphic novels now that I realize that these are pretty awesome. So if you have any graphic novels that you recommend for me, please leave them below. I would love to hear those. Other books that I plan on getting that are not physically here but I'm picking up is Black Klansman, because I want to read that before I see the film or the movie. I actually did pick up Crazy Rich Asians because I wanted to read it before seeing the film, but I'm not going to finish that. I do have it, but it's in another room. I know I'm not going to finish that before seeing the film, and the book didn't really captivate me that much. I feel like it's something I'm going to enjoy better on film. So that's the only two other books I think that I did not mention in this video that I have on my radar to really read. And I also have like The Bells that I'm planning on, but that may have to wait till October. So yeah, as always, if you have any recommendations below, leave them. I'm excited to hear them, and I'll see you guys in my next haul, monthly recap, TBR reading list book video. And let me know if you guys like this structure. Okay, well, love and light, and God bless always. Deuces. Whoop, whoop. Oh, it's too heavy. Okay.